You expect a car to run without getting any maintenance, without getting any gas, would just keep going miles and miles and miles and miles. What's gonna happen? Of course the car is going to break down. Pre-plan your maintenance stops, okay? That was me, I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I am not in my bedroom in San Jose, California, but I am in Costa Rica. So I am in Costa Rica and I was called to make this video because I am spending so much time thinking about how blessed and lucky I am to be an attorney that gets to travel and experience life the way that I have. I think that there is such a stereotype about attorneys not being able to have lives, and they're so typically put in this box, right, where they can't get out of the house, they're constantly working, they have the highest rate of suicide. You just hear horror stories all the time about how miserable lawyers can be. That may hold true for some. It's not the case for all lawyers. I mean, had I listened to some of the stereotypes in society about what lawyers are like, I would never have felt I could do what I do now. I would always feel like I had to have chosen one or the other. But I just want to share with you guys that you do not have to choose. You can have it all, okay? Obviously, there's some disclaimers with that. You have a higher sense of discernment when it comes to what you waste time on, because your time is very valuable. You have to find ways to maneuver that so that you create space for the things that you want to prioritize, like traveling and spending time with your friends and having fun and being with family, because all of those things will make you a better attorney. If you neglect those facts, you are not going to be as great as an attorney either. And I've taken some notes, as always, about the things I did both in law school and now as a lawyer that have completely changed the game for me and allowed me to live a very fulfilling life both in my career and in my personal life, because my biggest passion is traveling the world. Typically, lawyers don't have a lot of time to do that, but I've created ways to do that both in law school and as a lawyer now, where I am always traveling. And I don't listen to the stereotypes anymore because I've created a new reality for myself that I want to share with you. Also, excuse my voice, it's gone because I've been in Costa Rica just living my best life. Your girl's voice is struggling, but I still wanted to get this video out for you. Okay, so let's just jump right in. The first thing, hold on one second. First thing that I urge you to do, if you're in law school right now, I strongly recommend that you study abroad in law school, okay? Do it. We had a program to study abroad in either Argentina or Prague, and I chose Europe. Just know that my experience in Prague was superior in every way, but I do think that if you're more interested in going to South America, that would be an amazing opportunity too. But being in Europe, going to law school in Europe was such a life-changing experience. I did abroad in law school my second year. I did that knowing that I had a little bit of room with my grades to allow for that. For example, some students were on academic probation and they weren't even allowed to go to study abroad. So if it can motivate you to do really well your first year, just know that if you do, you'll be permitted to study abroad for your sophomore year. And this was such a good idea. I just wanted to travel. I didn't realize how good of an idea it was until after. So not only do you get credits for your classes when you study abroad, you are able to also save money, because living abroad is often way cheaper than living in California. Now, I guess this really depends on what area of the United States you live in, but for me, I lived in San Diego. It was so expensive. So what I did was I subleased my apartment, and it wasn't that much more to sign up for the study abroad program. You just have to buy your flight. The actual tuition costs the same. And I subleased my apartment. I made money off of my rent, so I subleased it for about $200 more than I paid rent. And on top of it, I had a apartment that I shared with 3 of my law school friends in Prague for 3 months, and the rent was about half of the price that I paid back home. So I got to pocket an extra $800 just to have fun and travel and see the world. So not only do you get to go, experience living in Europe or living in a foreign country, you also get to go to law school there, and you get to see the way that an international law school looks like. It's a very cool experience, but it made me so grateful for the resources and educational tools that we have back home, because truly people abroad don't have it as easy as we do in America. So, and I remember one of our projects was to do interviews. So we had to take a camera and interview locals. You save money, you get summer credits, and it's a good motivation to do really well your first year of law school. Piggybacking off of that as well, if you and your friends are avid travelers, me and my friends were in law school, we used trips as a motivation all the time. So instead of like, okay, after finals, we're gonna go get drunk at XYZ bar, we said, okay, after finals, we're going on a cabin trip. After finals, we're going on a Lake Havasu trip. So we would plan trips that would motivate us to not do anything during studying. And sorry, there's bugs everywhere freaking me out. We planned trips to help us kind of get through the finals weeks, etc. Also, I never did this, but a couple of my friends actually went on study trips. So they would go into like the secluded woods in a cabin for like a weekend, and they would just all bury themselves in their books and be in nature. But I was more of a library girl that kind of like, I don't know if I would get much done that way. Yeah, so those are the things that I did in law school that were really helpful. You don't think you have a lot of time in law school, but you do, as long as you stay ahead of your other studies and make sure that you're not falling behind in any courses, because that really is the best time to travel, so long as... Okay, sorry, as I was saying, law school really is the best time to travel, but it can be really stressful. It can be really stressful if you're behind in any of your readings, any of your studying. And I know I wasn't the most confident, so I steered away from traveling during the school year. But whenever there was a break or anything like that, my friends and I always planned trips. And like I said, I studied abroad. It was 3 months. It was one summer, best summer of my life. We traveled everywhere. We studied abroad in Prague, but we met other law schools. So sorry to go back on this a little bit, but yeah, so we ended up combining law school study abroad programs with a law school in Houston and a law school in New York, and all of us like became really good friends. And we ended up traveling to meet each other for trips later. So we went to Houston and New Orleans after the study abroad program to meet up with our study abroad friends, and the Houston students came and visited us in San Diego. So we totally have a relationship till this day, and it was just an amazing experience. And sometimes I do refer people to my friends who are in different states. Anyways, if you can and you can afford it and it makes sense for your grades, do it. If you get anything out of this video, study abroad in law school. Let's talk about how you have a life as a lawyer, and how do you travel, how do you balance, what is the secret to work-life balance? All right, so I'm here to tell you that there is no such thing as work-life balance. Like, that is a myth. It's one thing that people always tell you to strive for, and it just really honestly doesn't exist. What you need to focus on instead of work-life balance is just making sure that you carve out the time for yourself and being intuitive. Oh my God, what the fuck? These bugs, I swear. Like, you're not gonna always be balanced is what I'm trying to say. There are gonna be months where you are buried in work. You have trials, you have depositions, you have everything's piling on at once. They're going to be able to necessarily go on a trip in the middle of all of that without stressing yourself out. What's more realistic to strive for is making sure that you have pre-planned blocks of time where you are forcing yourself to take these breaks, because once you get into the loop of being a lawyer and all of the things, it's never going to be a good time for you to go on a trip, right? One thing my law firm makes us do is let them know in the beginning of the year what times we anticipate to take off within the next 3-4 months, and then they check in with us every 3-4 months. Every single time they ask us, are you planning on taking time off? I say yes. I say yes, even if I have nothing planned. I say yes, I am. And I kind of guess a certain block of time that I want to take off, and I let them know because I have a trip planned. Now, I don't necessarily have a ticket booked. I don't have my friends all on board. I don't even know where I'm going. But I know I'm going somewhere, and that I need to give myself a break every 3 months to kind of get away from this life and come back refreshed and even a better lawyer. Pre-plan your time off in advance. And sometimes your dates are going to differ. You can usually fix that. Tell your work you're going on these trips. You tell them that this is when you're coming back. And if you have to change the dates, then so be it. They can either accommodate it or they can't. And 9 times out of 10 they can. And I think that it's important for you to have flexibility at your job, because otherwise you are going to burn out. I was talking to my friend Kirby about this today, and she was like, it's like a car. You expect a car to run without getting any maintenance, without getting any gas, would just keep going miles and miles and miles and miles. What's gonna happen? Of course the car is going to break down. So you need to pre-plan your maintenance stops, okay? Once you're in the thick of it, chances are you won't do that for yourself. You're gonna be on autopilot. So make sure you pre-plan. Do not feel guilty for taking these trips. A lot of people, they keep it hush-hush. You know, they'll tell their job, like, I'm going, you know, I'm taking a personal trip somewhere, but they feel guilty saying it's somewhere like a retreat in Costa Rica or a spa weekend with your girls in Mexico. Why not? Tell your job that you're going on these trips. Normalize lawyers having relaxing and fun weekends and vacations. Tell your job, I'm not going to be accessible. I'm going to be in a remote location. I won't be on my phone. And make it clear, because, you know, they'll probably respect it regardless, but make it clear that you're not going to be accessible. Last thing, this is kind of a no-brainer, is that you want to make sure you are completely ahead of your assignments. One thing I like to do is I like to let my boss know before they ask me, hey, I've already looked ahead because I'm not going to be here next week, and these are the things you have coming up. These are the things I've prepared for you in advance. Let me know if you need anything else. You do those things. I know these are kind of more like conventional tips. I don't have like the big, you know, secret to having this work-life balance, but I will say that in my opinion it does not exist, and you have to prioritize putting time aside for yourself, because the balance is not going to just come to you. You have to create breaks for yourself. Otherwise life isn't just going to hand them to you. They're going to overwork you. So you have to have that self-awareness and self-love and self-respect, okay, to also feed the other areas of my life, and work is not the only thing that fulfills me. Okay, that inspires you. I hope that gives you an idea, a new idea of what lawyers look like nowadays, because even on this trip I had to do a quick assignment, and that sucked. And I remember being so annoyed because I'm like, I'm on a trip. Oh my god, you guys, look at this butterfly. Oh my god, 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 oh my god. Oh no, it's still there. Wow, that was a terrible shot. Okay. HDV off the charts. Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, even on this trip, I had this assignment that I was so annoyed that I had to do, and I was getting irritated and frustrated, but I was like, Kimia, you have one little assignment that you have to do. You get to spend the rest of your time in Costa Rica. Like, are you really gonna let that ruin your day? No, be blessed. You only have to do one little thing. You get to be a lawyer, and you get to be a traveling Costa Rican princesa, okay? So I love it. I love my life. I'm so blessed. I wanted to share that with you guys. Let's change the stereotype around lawyers, okay? Because lawyers are cool. Lawyers are well-traveled. We're enriched, you know? And we have fun. We have a good time. All right. So I hope you sillies like this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye. Tell me if you like it.